All right, so Florida State had their first scrimmage of the spring this morning. Got a little bit of info on that we put behind our Patreon wall on the Discord. If you haven't, you can go check that out. You can get access at patreon.com/DFNS. Let's jump right into it. This is not a very well-produced video. If I mess up, I'm not going back to fix anything. We're just going to roll with what we've got and try and share some of the notes that we were given from some folks inside of the scrimmage, close to the public, but of course we got you guys this info. Tate Rodemaker had a drive on the goal line early where they couldn't really get anything going on the ground. Had a bad pass on a jump ball to Johnny, ended up in a blocked field goal on that drive. Tate was up and down, didn't look especially good, had one really good drive, one really bad drive, and then was just kind of for the rest of the time. Held onto the ball a little too long at times, didn't make super crisp decisions. I'd say he was just very average, but probably not the best quarterback on the day by any means. AJ probably was the best quarterback on the day. He was up and down, I'd say, but had a couple of really nice runs in situations where, Florida State needed to convert, whether it be on a money down, which typically Florida State's going to call that a third or fourth down. Sometimes they're just going to randomly assign a different play in a scrimmage to be a money down. It doesn't always happen on the third play of a drive, but sometimes Mike Norvell is just going to say, hey, this is a money down, and we need to go convert here to simulate what would be a third or fourth down in a live game situation. Probably the play of the day was a really nice 35-yard pass from AJ to Winston Wright, down on the sideline for a touchdown. AJ, from what I'm hearing, from what I've been told, might be looking like QB2 right now to back up Jordan Travis. I think that year in the offense, in Mike Norvell's system, has paid off tremendously for him. And I think that he might be your guy for that position as we go, right, going forward. Brock had an interception, but then right after that rebounded to throw a really nice pass to Hakeem in the end zone that Hakeem wasn't able to bring in. Had a really nice run, again, similar to AJ, for about 20 yards on a money down. Struggled in another drive to get anything going just due to defensive pressure. The defensive line was really good. We'll talk about them in just a minute. But he looked really good and probably looked better than Tate at times. He definitely has those freshman up and down type moments, right? He's going to look really, really good at times like AJ did last year. And then at times you're going to say, yeah, it's a true freshman that's been on campus for 3 months. But I'm really encouraged by what I'm hearing from, Brock Glenn's play so far. Running backs were interesting. I've heard that Trey didn't get a ton of burn. LT got a little bit more burn than that. Rodney and CJ definitely had good days. Keziah Holmes had a good day. Rodney Hill definitely stood out the most. Obviously, Florida State needs to figure out that third running back in the rotation, losing Trayshawn Ward. I think it might be Rodney Hill. I think Keziah Holmes is going to do some really good things as well. But Rodney Hill had a great day and really impressed. Let me look through some notes here. I believe, let me back up just a little bit, not to slow you guys down here too much, but I believe it was CJ Campbell that had a 45-yard touchdown run. I might have to edit the description on this if I ended up getting that wrong. Kyle Morlock had some really nice catches in traffic. He was very hard to bring down. There were a couple of times that guys had to kind of hold on for dear life, and they kind of had to gang tackle him. So his size and athleticism seems to be really, really impressive. Jaheim Bell didn't really have a ton of looks. Throws to him were a little off for sure, whether it be from AJ, Brock, Tate. Moved around a ton, and he looks the part. His athleticism and his size is something that's just really, really impressive. I think that you're going to see a lot out of Jaheim Bell that impresses you for a while, but didn't have a ton of big hits today or big looks today. Lined up kind of everywhere, and then the quarterbacks just weren't super accurate going to him today for whatever reason. Wide receivers, Vandevarius Jacobs sounds like that guy. Dre, all day Dre, as they call him. Guy was all over the place, made some fantastic catches, made one on the sideline that was out of bounds, but still really, really impressed people. He was, what I've been told, the player of the scrimmage, was really, really good. And somebody that I think, I know Hakeem's the 5-star that's going to end up being the guy for Florida State. I think there's a chance Drake could get more burn this year. He was such an underrated recruit and absolutely balled out today. Looked really, really good. Offensive line, there were several starters not in. Robert Scott didn't play. Dimitri Emmanuel didn't play. Jeremiah Byers was very limited. The ones just didn't play much at all. And so there was a lot of pressure by the D-line, but you do have to kind of take that with somewhat of a grain of salt, just due to the fact that there weren't many ones out there for more than about 10 plays at the most. So tough to gauge much from the offensive line with that many guys out. I think a lot of guys, held out for precautionary reasons. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. Quarterbacks and most of the running backs had, a lot of the running backs had green jerseys on, like Trey and Lawrence. And so a lot of their stuff could have gone for more yardage, but ended up being a little bit shorter just due to them having the green no contact jerseys on. I was told there was a play that LT got about 5 yards, but he absolutely in full pads would have broken it and been off to the races if he wasn't just like touched by one hand by a linebacker. Wide receivers, again, your ones didn't play a ton. Johnny wasn't in a ton. Guys like that, which, again, holding them out, trying to get some younger guy reps, which totally makes sense. Moving over to the defense was phenomenal. A couple takeaways. You obviously had the blocked field goal. Defensive line is ridiculous. Been told that Pat Payton was incredible, probably the defensive performer of the day. He is filled out more. He's improved a ton from last year. I'm not saying he's going to have this kind of an impact, but by the time he's in his third, maybe fourth year, we'll see if Florida State even gets him for a fourth year. I heard a Brian Burns comparison, and so you guys know what Burns did. He was really, really good. I think there's a chance he ends up starting. You guys have heard the DMAC rumors. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I think he could start opposite Jared Verse. The line of Fisk, Fabo, Jared Verse, and Pat Payton. Again, this is from somebody inside of FSU that's seeing this scrimmage, but I've been told that it could be one of the best defensive lines, starting units in the country. And then you add in Edmond, you add in Jackson, you add in Briggs, you add in, AO, you add in, I'm missing a Farmer. I mean, there's just a ton there. Boots had a sack today, so encouraging there that you see a young guy get in and be able to mix that up. Secondary was good. They did not throw at Cypress, but maybe one time, and he broke up the pass when that happened. So just not a lot of balls going his way. Understandable, as the one of the top-rated corners in the country last year and the top Power 5 corner that Florida State brought in, for them to not be throwing at him a lot. Kicking game, outside of that block by, I believe, Renardo Green. I don't have that note right in front of me, and I'm recording on my phone, so I don't have it right in front of me. But outside of the block, I believe that Fitzgerald made everything he kicked today, so that was encouraging. They don't always kick field goals at the end of every drive. It's very simulated, very situational, and so there are times where they are going to kick a field goal after a touchdown. There's times that they're not. Sometimes they just back the point after touchdown back to make it a more difficult field goal. I heard Florida State was really, really good. Missed the short one. There was a block, but I don't think it was like an issue with the kick. So kicking was good today. I know that was the situation that Florida State, struggled with at times last year. Also, don't be surprised if you see All Day Dre. Don't be surprised if you see Jacobs back there on kick return. I think that's something that, punt return, that you could see this year. Obviously, with the injury to Micah Pittman, you may need a new punt returner. He's pretty electric. I know that he was seen practicing back there a little bit. Some interesting news and notes on potential injuries. Other guys that probably are not going to stick around. We're going to drop all that in our Discord. I'm not just putting that out for everybody. It's kind of speculation based on who was practicing, who wasn't. So if you haven't, we'll link it below. All channel members, so if you're a member of the channel, you will get access to that as well. All channel members will get access to our Discord, where we put the private notes. We put all this information earlier today. We'll have more from an injury standpoint and a potential transfer standpoint over there. So if you haven't joined the channel as a member, I think it's like $3 or $4 to do that. There are higher levels where you get more, but go check that out. You can also check out patreon.com if you would like a little bit more information, a little bit more news, notes, insight on what's going on at Florida State with regards to football. I want to check my notes one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Oh, there was a play that the running back, I think it was CJ, it was either CJ or Keziah, had like a 25-yard rush from the 5-yard line, from their own 5-yard line, obviously. The very next play, they ran it with that running back again, and Fabian Levitt picked him up and actually body slammed him to kind of say, like, hey, I know you got off on us that last play. You're not doing it again. Mike Norvell absolutely loved that, loved the energy, loved the aggression, loved that Fabo was out there mixing it up. Fabo, I've been told, and you guys know what FSU's defense did with and without him last year, was absolutely dominant, just could not be stopped today. Didn't practice the whole time. Obviously, you want to try to limit his reps as much as you can, even in the spring, but was completely dominant against, again, some 2s and 3s in there on the offensive line. But even when the 1s were in, he was absolutely bringing it. Not a surprise for defense to start a little faster than offense in the spring. Same thing is going to happen in the fall, so don't get nervous about that or worried about that. But Fabo being that guy is certainly going to help FSU in what they want to do next year. I also think that him not having to be the every single down guy and him being able to, get on, get more rotation. Sorry, for, Jackson and Fisk and Farmer and Briggs, Ayo, for them to legitimately have 6 options there at defensive tackle, 6 really good options at defensive tackle, and then other guys backing those guys up, I think it's going to take some of the pressure off of Fabo and some of the injury risk that he has been kind of injury prone in his career away. I think that's going to help Florida State a ton, because when that top defensive line unit is in there, they are nasty. Florida State's front 7 has a chance to be one of the best in the country. I think they will be the best in the conference when you look at that defensive line that we've talked about, and then you look at the linebackers, Lundy, Deloach, and Bethune. Other guys coming up and step up there too, but that front 7 is just going to be ridiculous this year for Florida State. You added Cypress, and I really like what you have back there in the secondary this year. I think that's going to be a huge help to that secondary to continue to grow and continue to get even better. Florida State's defense is obviously taking a step every single year under Adam Fuller. They were a top 30-ish unit this year. What I think you saw with that was a lot of really good play against bad teams, a lot of not so good play against good offenses like Clemson, Wake Forest, and Florida. Louisville as well, if you throw them in there. So I think that Florida State's defense is going to take a step forward. They've improved the talent. They lost Robinson, I know, is a big loss, but I think they've improved it kind of everywhere else. So I think they're in really, really good shape there. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I'm literally in the desert here in Arizona and Sedona. Just left lunch. I'm going to go check out for a little while. But if you enjoyed this, if you like this content, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, comment questions below. We'll try and answer any questions that you guys have on the scrimmage that maybe we haven't gotten to. Again, join the channel as a member. You get access to content like this early. You also get access to our Discord, where we're going to share a little bit more insight on a potential injury that happened today and some guys that we think may end up transferring out. But wanted to get this news to you as quickly as we could. Again, just left a tour in Sedona on vacation, but still wanted to try and get this to you as fast as we could. So doing it from the car. Hopefully the audio is not terrible. We're not in the house with a microphone, and we don't have a good background or anything like that. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. We will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for all your support. Go Noles.